Hi there, everybody. Welcome to Bear Facts Friday as we enter into the first day of May. And just the quick recap again. So this week, I'm going to offer you kind of the filter, filter out the noise, the big picture perspective of what's gone on. And Mark is going to be doing double duty of offering his perspective and his wisdom because Lisa is spending time with the family. So this week I wanted to talk about an article that I had, investing during a coronavirus pandemic. I guess if you aren't going to toot your own horn, then you can't count on anybody else to do it. So make sure you check that out. There'll be a link in the email. But some questions people that I was asked during the interview is, well, what do should I buy gold? Should I do this? Should I do that? And the reality of it is that at least in terms of commodities, we look at those as something that has extremely high volatility and low expected return. And I think it's just worthwhile to check out the interview I did. And then also, look, we're coming off the best month the stock market has had since 1987. Truly tremendous performance. And I don't know anybody who, let's say, on March 27th or 28th of this month was thinking now is a great time to be invested in the markets. Well, it's turned out it has been. Hopefully, may we continue, but the reality is we do not know. Just to keep it, the big picture, looking at it again, is that the market is a forward-looking mechanism. It is pricing things out in the future. And so even though the times right now are terrible from an economic standpoint, right? We've got record low earnings, we've got record high unemployment, we've got record decrease in GDP. We're pricing in the future. And as more positive news comes out about how we can fight this virus, it looks better for the future, which is what is being priced into the market, which is why we had such a great month in the month of April, and hopefully more positive news continues to come out. Things begin to open up more, and May can be another good month. Although we don't know, you got to be in it for the long run, as we talk about all the time.
Yeah, thanks, Kenny. And that really echoes what we always preach: is that a lot of performance, whether good or bad, comes in really short chunks that are concentrated together. So that's a perfect example of that, what we've seen since late March. Um, Good Friday, everybody, and I'm going to talk to you a little bit about some perspective on currency today. And I found this chart, which I thought was a clever one, if nothing else, because it talks about what's been important so far in 2020 through April. And if you look at things, coffee, it's always important. That hasn't changed. People's use of their car has gone down dramatically while internet usage has gone up. But I particularly like the toilet paper one because it seems maybe like long ago, but it wasn't that long ago when toilet paper seemingly became a form of currency. I mean, people were texting, they were calling, they were on social media. Everybody was in search of toilet paper somewhere. And it seemed just so bizarre at the time, if you really sat down to think about it. But nevertheless, that's kind of how things went. Hopefully now it's tapered off a little bit as we're trending back towards normal. But let's think about another form of currency. I think one would be Zoom, the communications platform. We've been using Zoom for quite some time, well prior to uh, coronavirus taking over. But it's interesting that there's actually two Zooms. There's the Zoom video, which many of you have probably used, and which Kenny and I are using today to bring you this video. There's another company called Zoom Technologies. And again, Zoom being a form of currency over the last few months, its stock price, no surprise, has been impacted. But if you look at this chart, it's interesting to note that the wrong Zoom was actually the benefactor of a serious surge in stock price before the SEC ultimately halted trading on it due to investor confusion. Meanwhile, the actual Zoom that we all use and that we're familiar with, it hasn't done too bad itself as well. So I think of that as another form of currency. And then here's two others that I really think are important that I've realized over the last month or so is that time is one of our most precious currencies. We all know that time is of the essence and time cannot be replaced. And I think in some form or fashion, every one of us have thought about that or experienced that over the last few months. And then in addition to that, kindness. I just believe that that's another form of currency, whether it's your coworkers as you're doing virtual work, whether it's your neighbor next door, or your high school friends who you may not have talked to in years and years. Just being kind is a currency that you can always pay it forward, and it's an abundant supply. It's something that you don't have to actually go out and work for. You can just get it. So that's my perspective for this week. And then, as Kenny mentioned earlier, Lisa is out today. She's spending some well-deserved time with family, and we're really happy for her about that. But I think that would probably be what she wanted to share with you as wisdom, is the importance of family, whether they're close by. I have in-laws that live in my neighborhood, which I actually love, and that's a great thing. Lisa has some grandkids who live in Canada, pretty far away. So whatever it is, I'm sure she would want to share with you the importance of spending time with family, no matter how that time is spent or where they might be located. So we appreciate you tuning in for this week's Fairfax Fridays, and hope you all have a great weekend.